How the Reynoldsburg School District Got Its Shape. Part 6, 1961 to 1967, Island Paradigm. As a reminder, here's what the boundaries of the Reynoldsburg City School District look like today in August 2025. Where we left things in Part 5, the Columbus City Schools Board of Education had triumphed in their dispute with the State Board of Education over whether several hundred acres in Jefferson Township could be transferred to the Columbus City School District. But notably quiet in the news stories from the time was another interested party, Jefferson Township Schools. The Jefferson Township School District stood to lose potentially millions of tax dollars if the transfer went through, so naturally, they favored the state board's position over that of Columbus City Schools. While the outcome was pending, they seemed to have laid low for the most part, but after the decision came down, they filed a lawsuit of their own. A judge may have ordered the auditor to send all that tax money to Columbus schools, they argued, but the State Board of Education still had never officially transferred the territory. Not to mention that the Jefferson Township Board of Education itself had certainly never authorized such an action. The Columbus School District was also on a winning streak in getting annexed territory transferred over from Reynoldsburg School District. In 1961, they had won their case over the Arbogast Tract, the 280-acre annexation that had carved the Reynoldsburg School District territory along McNaughten Rd into a hatchet shape. Then, in January of 1962, the city of Columbus asked to annex another 83 acres of Truro Township along McNaughten Rd. This was Columbus's furthest incursion yet into Reynoldsburg School District territory, starting where the handle of the hatchet met Bryce Road and pushing eastward all the way to Rose Hill Road, where even then, Rose Hill Elementary School was under construction and set to open in the fall. This move was particularly galling, as Gretchen Ott wrote in an article in Reynoldsburg's Little Weekly newspaper. The board was never officially notified that such a move was underway until the county commissioners had already approved the annexation to Columbus. The Reynoldsburg School Board had had enough. Even though they were kind of busy seeing to the final details of a new high school for the district at Rose Hill Road and Livingston Avenue, they weren't going to take this one lying down. This latest annexation by the city of Columbus was going to create an island of Reynoldsburg School District surrounded by a sea of Columbus City School District territory. For this fight, the school board had help from the city of Reynoldsburg government. While RHS students were starting their spring semester in that new complex on Livingston Avenue, the school board was lawyering up, and Mayor Charles Lamert was assembling a task force consisting of one member each from City Council, the City Planning and Zoning Commission, the Truro Township Trustees, and the school board, along with Superintendent Robert Heichman, the city attorney, and the city engineer. While the Reynoldsburg City and School District were preparing to fight, the city of Columbus struck with another 50-acre annexation immediately to the south, covering the present-day location of Carriage Lane, Norfolk Drive, and Shenandoah Drive. If this, plus the 83 acres already annexed by the city of Columbus, were to be transferred into the Columbus City School District, it would not only create a 100-acre island of Reynoldsburg Local School District on the far side of McNaughten Road, it would also carve a 90-acre bay into the Reynoldsburg School's mainland. This can be seen in the map below, where the Reynoldsburg School District is shown in magenta, the Columbus School District is shown in green, and the 133 acres of proposed annexations are shown in both magenta and green, resulting in a muddy purple color. They've also been marked with red borders. The Reynoldsburg School District Island consists of the head of the hatchet, about 90 acres on the west side of McNaughten Road, plus a somewhat stair-step shaped collection of parcels straddling McNaughten Road. Think of them as the strips of leather or rawhide that lash the head of the hatchet to the handle. 1963 to 1964. 2 L's for Columbus City Schools. In 1963, while the Columbus and Reynoldsburg school boards were still arguing over the handle of the hatchet-shaped peninsula linking McNaughten Road and Bryce Road, and the other 90 acres between Bryce and Rose Hill Road, the city of Columbus went ahead and annexed most of the head of the hatchet, 77 acres, containing the present-day neighborhood with the interesting street names of Effingham and Cummington. The area was promptly transferred into the Columbus School District. Remaining between the head of the hatchet and the handle was the McNaughten Rd stairstep, keeping its status as unincorporated Truro Township. At this point, though, the Columbus School Board's winning streak broke. The State Board agreed with the Reynoldsburg School Board that transferring the hatchet handle to the Columbus City School District would create an island. True, it wouldn't be a big 100-acre island, but the McNaughten Rd stairstep would still become an island for sure, and they weren't going to approve it. The result was a reshaped peninsula of the Reynoldsburg School District, which now looked less like a hatchet and more like an outstretched arm pointing a gun toward the city of Columbus. On the other hand, the State Board did allow Columbus City Schools to take the annexed 50-acre area containing Carriage Lane and Shenandoah Drive, since that transfer wouldn't create an island. This transfer created a tongue of Columbus City School District, poking into Reynoldsburg School District territory, which still catches the occasional family out when they mistakenly show up at the RCSD Welcome Center to register their child for kindergarten. The Columbus School Board picked up another loss in 1954 when the Jefferson Township lawsuit finally reached the Ohio Supreme Court, and the court ruled in their favor. They ordered 400 some of the original 800 or so acres to be returned to the Jefferson Township School District. James Worcester's 6-acre island of Jefferson Township School District was once again part of that school district's mainland. You can see all of these developments in the map below, with the reclaimed portion of the Jefferson Local School District shown in dark blue. And I've just been showing that. And then here is the arm pointing a pistol towards the city of Columbus. Okay. 1965 to 1967. Strawberry Hill Drive. The State Board may have said no to creating a Reynoldsburg School District island on McNaughten Road, but some of the residents in those 83 acres refused to take no for an answer. They pulled together a petition and managed to get an issue on the ballot in the 1967 primary, proposing to transfer the western half of that tract, essentially the handle of the hatchet, into the Columbus City School District. And as for the island that doing so would create, they had that covered. That land, too, would be transferred into the Columbus City School District. The entire school district voted on the issue in May. It passed, and the Arm and Pistol Peninsula became part of Columbus City Schools before the beginning of the 1967-68 school year. The ballot language was somewhat misleading, though. It stated that the 18-acre island on McNaughten Road was the result of other annexations, implying that the island already existed and that this transfer would take care of that awkward state of affairs. In fact, the McNaughten Road stairstep was at that moment the tip of the Arm and Pistol Peninsula of the Reynoldsburg School District, and still connected to the rest of the district. It was an island only in the sense that it was an unincorporated Truro Township island surrounded by City of Columbus territory. The only other annexation that would turn it into a school district island was that very same transfer that voters were being asked to approve. Furthermore, the ballot language was factually incorrect in stating that the transfer would consist of all of the territory west of Bryce Road. In fact, there was a 6-acre carve-out for a handful of homes that would remain in the Reynoldsburg School District, the enclave on Strawberry Hill Road and Harvest Lane Court that remains to this day. So while the proposed transfer did remove a hypothetical school district island on McNaughten Rd, it created another one in the Old Orchard neighborhood. There it remains, still confounding residents who wonder why their children can't attend Columbus City Schools' Old Orchard Elementary, a 5-minute walk away. And then here's a closer view of this stretch of land running between McNaughten Road and Rose Hill after the transfers had been settled. So this land, the state board said, could go to Columbus City Schools. This land, the state board said, no, this all stays in Reynoldsburg because that would create an island here. And then residents along here got the petition to get transferred over into Columbus City Schools, except for the 6 houses here. 1963 through 1967. Island Getaway. In 1957, the State Board of Education had refused to create a 6-acre school district island within Jefferson Township School District, the first of a string of conflicts over taxation and school district territory transfers. By 1958, the law was clear. If it was a choice of either creating a school district island or triggering wholesale property tax cuts across an entire school district or city or county, the state board was obliged to say yes to the island, which they did. Now, almost a decade later, Worcester's Island had disappeared, but many other school district islands were springing up in its place in central Ohio. When Jefferson Local School District reclaimed its 400 acres along East Broad Street, one piece of the returned territory was the narrow triangle on the south side of East Broad, surrounded by Columbus School District territory, the present-day site of a Donato's Pizza and a Discount Tires. And of course, there was Reynoldsburg School's 6-household island in the Old Orchard neighborhood, and you can see both of those islands in the map below. So we've just seen this one, and then again, here's the one on Strawberry Hill Drive. Then, if we swap our figure and ground to see the Columbus School District as the land rather than the sea, we can see that it ended up with a veritable archipelago. When the state board returned those 400 acres to Jefferson Township Schools, they did not return any territory to the Reynoldsburg School District. This resulted in 3 little islands of Columbus City Schools near Broad and McNaughton, surrounded by Jefferson Local School District territory on the north and Reynoldsburg City School District on the south. Farther east, it also left a 450-acre island of the Columbus School District, straddling both Broad Street and Reynoldsburg New Albany Road. Boundary check, 1967. The city of Reynoldsburg had added more than 660 acres during this time. The biggest of the annexation was the somewhat Pac-Man-shaped 400-acre parcel on the northwest side, where the rest of present-day Civic Park is located, as well as the Red Fox Hollow neighborhood off Rose Hill Road. On the east side, it annexed 2 more areas on the north side of Main Street. One of them was the site of the present-day Reynoldsburg Estates Mobile Home Park. Random fact, that Reynoldsburg Estates annexation created the first island of Truro Township completely surrounded by the city of Reynoldsburg. Can you find it? Yes, you're right. It's right over here, the present-day location of the school district bus parking lot. The city even annexed 3 areas in Etna Township, 50 years after the Reynoldsburg School District had expanded there, turning Reynoldsburg into a two-county city. But even now, the city of Reynoldsburg remained entirely inside the Reynoldsburg School District boundaries, as shown in the map here. One of the Etna Township parcels was the Inez Woods tract. In the map, it's that mostly rectangular peninsula on the northeast side of the city lying along Taylor Road and attached to the rest of the city only at the very point of its southwest corner. I say almost rectangular because there's a square cut out of that rectangle on its southern border. That 5-acre parcel was specially excluded from the annexation to give the Reynoldsburg School District the option to buy it in order to build a school there. The crazy thing is this: if you're going to build a school on a piece of land, then you definitely would want it annexed to the city in order to get city water and sewage service. I can't understand what the board was thinking when it came to this agreement in November 1963. Maybe this misstep is the reason that they never did buy the land, that it remains unincorporated Etna Township to this very day, and that Taylor Road Elementary School was eventually built on the eastern edge of the Inez Woods tract with an entrance on the high-traffic Taylor Road instead of, say, Papillon Avenue. However, while all these changes were happening on the Reynoldsburg School District's north and west sides, other changes were afoot on the south side. Constructing its way through central Ohio was the federal interstate highway program in the form of Interstate 70, which would affect the boundaries of both Reynoldsburg the city and Reynoldsburg the school district in the coming decade. That's next on How the Reynoldsburg School District Got Its Shape, Part 7. Thanks for watching.